Hi, everyone. I'm Rosemary Miller, and as many of you may know, the student loan pause is set to end later this summer after over 3 years of 0% interest. And today I have Adam Minsky with me, a senior contributor here at Forbes, and an attorney focused on helping student loan borrowers, here to discuss his story: student loan interest rates set to skyrocket for many borrowers. Thank you so much for joining me, Adam.
Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Adam, so you said skyrocket. That's a scary term for those of us with debt, student loan debt. So what do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, a few different things. I think the big thing for many borrowers is that for over 3 years, as you mentioned, they've been covered by the student loan pause, which has not only stopped payments, but it has set interest rates to 0% for all government-held federal student loans. That's millions of borrowers who have had no interest on their loans. Once the payment pause ends this summer, as it's expected to do, interest rates will revert back to whatever those rates were prior to the COVID pause going into effect. Now, for some borrowers, that might be just a few percentage points, but for other borrowers, particularly for borrowers who have graduate loans or Parent Plus loans, those interest rates could be 7, 8, 9%. So to go from zero to the high single digits is a significant shift for many borrowers. At the same time, the Fed has been increasing their rates, which has caused interest rates to rise in various ways throughout the economy. That's impacting the disbursement of new federal loans for borrowers who are currently in school or will be in school next year, as well as borrowers who have variable rate private student loans with interest rates that track along with the overall market environment. Those folks have also seen tremendous increases in their interest rates over the course of the last year or two.
Okay, so we're going to back up a little bit. You're saying 7%, 8%. Those numbers, they seem kind of small, but like put it in make it make sense for us, I guess. 7%, 8%. What does that mean for, say, I don't know, $100,000?
Well, I mean, to use some simple math here, 7% interest rate annually on $100,000 in federal student loan debt is $7,000 in annual interest rate accrual. If you had 0% for a year, now suddenly you're going to have 7,000 of interest accruing when you had zero. If it's 8%, it's 8,000. Now you're paying that down presumably if you're making payments, but that means your payments has to cover interest in most cases, as well as some principal. So the higher rates mean folks are going to have to pay.
So for the federal student loans, which of the ones will have the highest of the interest rates? The plus loans, how will that go?
So interest rates are on federal student loans are generally fixed as of 2006 and onward by Congress, and they're tied to certain events, most recently the auction of Treasury bonds. So an interest rate is fixed based on the disbursement year. So someone who has a loan disbursed in 2015 may have a different rate than a borrower who had loans disbursed in 2010, for example. But as a general rule, undergraduate federal Stafford loans have the lowest rates. The next highest group of borrowers are graduate borrowers with Stafford loans. And then higher than that are graduate borrowers with Graduate Plus loans. And then typically the borrowers who have the highest federal student loan interest rates are Parent Plus borrowers. A Parent Plus loan is a loan dispersed to the parent of an undergraduate student who is the one getting the education.
I'm curious about the Parent Plus loan. If someone's parent took out loans for their child, and let's say their parent is elderly, could they just die with the parent? How does that work?
So as a general rule for all federal loans, including Parent Plus loans, the loan is dischargeable upon the death of the borrower. So if you took out a loan for your own education, the loans can essentially die with you. The same is true for a Parent Plus borrower. If the Parent Plus borrower dies, their Parent Plus loan is discharged. But what's unique about Parent Plus loans is that even though the student is not technically the borrower for purposes of the Parent Plus loan, that loan is also dischargeable if the student dies as well, the child. So that's what makes Parent Plus loans somewhat unique.
Okay.